What's up YouTube? My name is Noah Chen. I'm going to be your brewmaster for today's video. And speaking of today's video, it is sponsored by the Elish Norn campaign to abolish Labor Day. Remember kids, Labor Day, not even once. Alright, well enough about our sponsors, let's talk about the deck. And what we're playing today is Azorius Fliers. Now, Azorius Fliers has kind of been on the edge of the meta for months now, maybe even a year. Who's to say? But it's a fun deck that got some pieces in Kaldheim that I think actually really bring it to a level of compatibility that people haven't realized. Competitiveness. These cards have brought it to a level of competitiveness that I'm not sure people have quite realized yet. Azorius Fliers does really well, especially against other aggro decks, which there are a lot of currently in the format. You know, mono red, mono white, life gain, all these things. And Azorius Fliers is great against these decks because we also gain a lot of life. Anyway, let's start looking at the deck, which I need to pull up, so let's do that right now. Alright, here is the deck. I think we're just going to go down left to right here, so we're going to start off with the 4 of Selfless Savior, 3 of All Seed of Life's Bounty. If you've seen anyone playing mono white, you are very familiar with these cards. They're going to help keep our other flyers alive, and All Seed of Life's Bounty, we can sack it to give one of our creatures protection to get through with those final points of damage. Very helpful. Here in this column, we're going to have our flyers that make up the main body of this deck. 4 of Battlefield Raptor, 4 of Watcher of the Spheres, 4 Brazen Borrowers, and 4 Jubilant Skybonders. You'll notice we're not running Skycat Sovereign for a couple of reasons. One, I only have 2 of them and didn't feel like crafting the other 2, but weirdly, I prefer to have the abilities of Watcher of the Spheres and Jubilant Skybonder. Jubilant Skybonder is very important. It, in many games, means that your opponents just aren't able to target your flyers with removal, which is very convenient for us. And then Watcher of the Spheres just lets us have a little bit more mana open to cast Brazen Borrower and Jubilant Skybonder, which is important for reasons that we'll get to in just a moment. Battlefield Raptor is a great 1-drop. It blocks all day against mono red and mono white, and we can sort of soup it up in the mid to late game, so it deals a bit more damage, and First Strike is just very nice to have, especially if our opponent plays like Maul of the Skyclaves and they have First Strike. It's nice to have something that can counter that as well. In this column here, we're going to have our card draw spells, which are going to be Staggering Insight and Sea Dasher Octopus. I love both of these cards. Staggering Insight is what sort of brought me to try and build this deck in the first place. I was just looking for reasons to play Staggering Insight. Sea Dasher Octopus, you can mutate onto a creature. Whenever it deals damage, you get to draw a card. Same with Staggering Insight, except Staggering Insight gives your creature also +1/+1 and lifelink. So of course on our flyers, we're frequently going to be drawing cards with these because who can block flyers? Almost nobody, right? That's how that works. I'm running 3 of a Halvar of God of Battle. Now this is really the main piece of tech I was talking about when I say Kaldheim brought something big to this deck, and that is Halvar. Sword of the Realms is really what you actually play this card for most of the time. Sword of the Realms is an equipment. You cast it from 1 generic and a white. It gives equipped creature +2/+0 and vigilance, and also when that equipped creature dies, you return it to its owner's hand. This is why the ramp of Watcher of the Spheres is so important, is because we're trying to play Sword of the Realms and equip it to our creatures, which costs a little bit of mana, you know? But if we're able to get Sword of the Realms onto anything, that we go a long way towards winning the game. Putting Sword of the Realms on Brazen Borrower is another very neat trick. Having a 5/1 flyer is something that has to be answered very quickly or your opponent will just lose the game. And if they do remove that 5/1 flyer, it goes back to your hand, which means you can petty theft something, bouncing one of your opponent's creatures, or just play it again. So that's a very neat trick we can do. And finally, we are running a 3 of Lurrus of the Dream Den, because almost all our cards here are CMC 2 or less. This deck so far has been performing very well for me. I have about a 72% win rate over 14 games, I think. So let's see if we can keep that up live on camera. This isn't live. I don't know why I said that, but it is on camera. So not everything's a lie. Hypnotal sounds like a Pokemon. We're on the play. This is beautiful. Battlefield Raptor into Savior, into Skybonder, or the other way around, probably. Savior into Raptor. Let's do that. Actually, let's not do that, because we'd rather the Savior protects the Skybonder when you think about it, so we're gonna do this. Just realizing I misplayed there, I really should have gotten the Fabled Passage down, so next turn I'd have 3 mana. But if I don't top deck an untapped land for Jubilant Skybonder, I will play Staggering Insight on the Raptor, and we'll have Savior to protect it. But we do top deck the mana, which is great because our opponent is on Jund Adventures, which means they're probably going to be playing some Murderous Riders and some Bone Crusher Giants. Bone Crusher Giants, 4 mana to target a creature with flying. That's a lot. That's a lot. Your Murderous Rider now costs 5 mana to target a creature with flying. Valky comes down. Well, that's a pretty good play for them. Not much we can do from keeping them from taking our Luris. Our deck doesn't run a lot of removal. Really, how we remove creatures is by providing enough pressure that our opponent needs to block them. So if we top deck like a Halvar here, we can put Sword of the Realms on Selfless Savior and start swinging in with that 3/1 Vigilance, which will be very nice. Opponent apparently forgetting that Valky holds priority. Always, for all time, because that's how the card is written. We'll give them a polite reminder. Never hurts to be a little sassy on Arena, I've found. There we are. Alright, we do top deck the Halvar. So we're going to put the Sword of the Realms onto Selfless Savior here, I think. I mean, they have to take the 3 in the air, which means they probably really don't want to take 3 on the ground. I'm totally fine if they chump with the Innkeeper. We are hoping, of course, that they chump with the Valky. They probably won't. There's a good chance here they just take 6, but then they're taking 6, and we're okay with that. Another line I could have gone with was playing Staggering Insight onto the Skybonder, and then next turn I could have played Halvar as the creature. If a creature with Staggering Insight has double strike, you get to draw 2 cards when it deals damage, which is very fun. But I think that's just a little too cute, and maybe just a little too slow for what we're trying to do right now. I think I'd rather just crash in. So if our opponent is able to remove anything, we now just sack the Savior, and then we can play it next turn. Very similar to the loop you can get with Luris, where we play it next turn, and then because it comes back to our hand, put the Sword of the Realms back on it, and then we just keep doing that. Yep, opponent does take 6 here. A Shadow's Verdict, of course, would be very nasty. I'm hoping they don't play it because it's Gruul Adventures, and why would you exile, like, your Lovestruck Beasts and stuff? So, we're hoping they don't have anything like that. Skews is slightly problematic because we do like to be able to reanimate stuff from our graveyard, but Luckily, with Sword of the Realms, Selfless Savior won't be going into our graveyard, so they can't exile it. And Aura of the Midnight cannot block, so opponent will be taking a good chunk of damage next turn, I believe. Ooh. I know it's a greedy play, but yes, I am going to go for double insight because I want to draw 2 cards this turn. That sounds like a lot of fun. Maybe I should only play 1 and let the Selfless Savior come back down so I can crash in with the Selfless Savior. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Actually, I don't think I want to attack with the Selfless Savior. So I think I will double insight, not attack with the Savior. Beaks of Fury! Attack! Two basic planes off the top. Fear me, opponent. It's okay, they don't know about this one. This card could be anything to them. Yes, hardcast that Murderous Rider, that's what we like to see. Making Jubilant Skybonder look very good, this matchup. Opponent must have just drawn that off of casting the Rider, otherwise surely they would have played the Innkeeper before and drawn 2 cards. I think we will block the Scoos here, because honestly, why not? Oh. Another Plains. It is important to note the Selfless Savior does actually hit the graveyard before going back to your hand, so if the Scoos hadn't died there, he could have exiled it. They could have exiled it while it was in the graveyard, my Selfless Savior. If you don't draw anything playable, we can always move the Sword of the Realms back onto the Selfless Savior after combat. And I just wanted to gain the extra points of damage. A Temple of Enlightenment. Borrower. Very nice. I don't think holding a Borrower is worth potentially losing the Savior, because I don't know if there's a lot they can play for 5 mana that I will desperately need to bounce. That could have been a play, was bouncing Murderous Rider so they don't get any life gain, but I'm not sure there's an amount of life they could gain that could really put them back in this fight. Next turn, anyway. Now if you cast that Lovestruck Beast, I think you're dead. Okay, I think you're dead. Yeah. All right. No 1-drops. This is a slow hand. which for this deck is pretty uncommon. You have a ton of 1 and 2 drops. You can bounce something with Borrower, but here's the problem. If we're up against something like Yorion, I think this hand will lose because we don't put enough... I mean, we're not up against Yorion, we can see that. If we're up against something slow, this hand will probably lose because our hand is slow. We will win against Aggro, probably, with the 2 bounces and the Skybonder. I think I'll take my chances. I think I'll keep. Ooh, this could bite me. We'll keep. We'll keep. If I lose, it'll be a good teaching moment for me and the channel. So, we'll keep. The tapped Jawari Disruption. This does make me worried. We are going up against control. If he plays a Plains and... okay. Plains go, I just concede. That's a joke, I wouldn't, but that would be bad. This is good. Our deck normally really hates going up against Borrower unless we have the Skybonder, so that'll be very nice for us. Bant Ramp. I'm not familiar with what that could be. This'll be fun. Oh no! I always forget this. This is kind of frustrating when you play Sea Dash or Octopus. Jubilant Skybonder is a human, which... I mean, okay. If we could have mutated Sea Dash or Octopus onto that, that would have been great, because they both would have gone back to our hand if anything happened. Let's see, Bant Ramp makes me think this could be a Doomscar, which means playing the Staggering Insight here really will probably only gain me 5 life and draw me 1 card. I sort of could use the card. I mean, Brazen Borrowers will probably be pretty good against them. And really what we're trying to do is pressure their life total, and just pressuring for 1 extra point isn't that great, so I think I'm going to hold the Staggering Insight. A Selfless Savior or something would really make this choice a lot easier. Or an All Seed of Life's Bounty. Fingers crossed it doesn't get countered. Nope. Hits the ground with a resounding thud. It doesn't feel like our opponent has anything. Glass Casket would be very nasty as well. Or would have been, but now that we have the All Seed, I'm tempted to play the Insight. Of course, if we play the Insight and they do have Glass Casket, we just lose the Insight, right? Anyway. Remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. Okay, that'll be frustrating. Once again, we're not going to play the Insight. We might be flashing in a Borrower here on their instep to get around the Labyrinth of Scophos. Really sort of wish Jubilant Skybonder could would also protect against abilities, but you can't have everything. Probably for the best. Midnight Clock. Okay. This plays into our Borrowers very well, actually. Yeah. Alright. That resolves. And then we flash in our our Brazen Borrower and start going to work. Another Insight. Okay, at this point I'm very tempted to play the Insight. They played 1 Doomscar. Oh, I didn't notice, their deck is over 60 cards. So the odds that they have another Doomscar are pretty small. I think we're just gonna load up and hope that they can't remove this. I don't know if this is right, but I want to get in for 6, and I like the thought of drawing a card. Temple. Nope. If opponent Doomscars here again, that'll be rough. Or Comas, that's a little rough too. They... This we bounce. Another Skybonder. Let's go ahead, get in. Now that we know they have a Coma, no help there. Now that we know they have a Coma, having multiple bodies in the air is going to be essential. Yeah. A raptor would have been so nice. Being able to put 2 creatures on the field here would have been essential, but we're not going to get it. I should have bounced the Coma before they got the Serpent. That was a misplay on my part. Because I think they would have been dead here if not. This tells me they're probably going to wipe the board again. Maybe not. No, because they could still... Whoa, my turn. Strange. So, if opponent has a Borrower, they could have a Shark Typhoon. If they cycle in a Shark Typhoon, that could be... Well, that would keep them alive, but if I move Sword of the Realms over here, they're both gonna have 4 power. I'm gonna play the Skybonder here just in case they do have something that could target. They're gonna have to do it now. If they're gonna try and target one of my flyers, okay. And then I think we just come in. Come in and say hi. Oh, opponent had nothing there. Okay. Very strange that they didn't play the Coma and survive for another turn. Maybe they weren't feeling it. Unless they hit a lot of their removal, like, I don't know, Sigurd or Skyclave Apparition, then I think we can do pretty okay here. This removes Indestructible, so that makes our saviors look really not great. I think I want to do this, though. This pressures them to spend their mana equipping the Shadow Sphere onto the Speaker of the Heavens. Yeah. We let this come in, that's fine. I think next turn we're going to Skybonder and Savior. Oh, they don't come in. Ooh. Okay, All-Seed changes things. Because protection is really what we need since they can remove our indestructibility. I think the play here is double protection. Get in with the Watcher. Keep their life total down. Hope they don't maul next turn. If they maul the Skyclaves, we take a big hit. They gain a lot of life, but then I think we can sort of stabilize from there. The plan is to stabilize from there, at any rate. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I am a big fan of having these and the Lurrus in my hand. That makes me feel very safe. Ooh, a Battlefield Raptor of their own. You don't see that a lot in mono white. Maybe you should. They give their Battlefield Raptor lifelink. Sure. They get in. I think we let this happen. Opponent had something they could do there at instance. Oh, it's just Shadow Spear. Okay. Just Shadow Spear. I think we're gonna play our Passage now and thin the deck a little bit. And I think here we once again get in with the Watcher. Hold up Brazen Borrower. Play out Jubilant Skybonder. That will mean we won't have any mana open for All-Seed. So maybe we don't do that. What am I really worried about them exiling, though? The All-Seed itself is probably the biggest thing I'm worried about. Them exiling, if I'm being honest. I don't think Skybonder's ability here is going to be that useful. Well, unless they're rocking Giant Killer and we do have a Halvar on the field. Ah, this is why I should be playing my creatures before combat. I knew there was a reason. I think we say go here. Yeah. Beautiful. I love that use of your mana. Opponent must just really need to draw a card here. Alright. So, I mean, we bounced the Raptor, yeah? Another speaker. Okay. Or we could kind of be funny. Bounce the Shadow Spear. And kill the Raptor, which is probably better. So let's do that. There's a chance I was supposed to save that for bouncing a speaker or something in case they get Luminarch down, but I don't know, maybe I'm just feeling kind of cocky. Nothing in the yard for Lurrus. Main phase. We'll take that trade. And it'll give us something in the yard for Lurrus if they do want it. A Staggering Insight would be great here. As would an Octopus. We play this on blue so we can flash in the Borrower, and we say go. Okay, Mono White, do your worst. This strange brew of Mono White. Oh, that's what they're doing. Okay. Other people also play with Halvar. Very nice. I was kind of tempting to sort of go in on Halvar and play like Sentinel's Eyes and stuff in this deck, which could be kind of cool. Maybe that's a different deck, though. Sure. I'm assuming they're not going to attack here. Yeah. My turn. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All of the Skyclaves would have been very nifty for them to have on the field. One sympathizes. I think we just play out the hand at this point. I have, well, I mean, the Saviors do next to nothing with the Shadow Spear. Presumably that's why they played it. That and the Halvar. I can still hold up All-Seed with Lurrus on the floor, though. And who knows, having Lurrus out might just, we might need to tango, who knows. Oh, they're Boros! What a twist! What a shocking twist. You don't have Trample, do you? You do have Trample, the Shadow Spear, of course. That makes sense. So I'm looking at, what, 12? 12 damage from you? And you gain 12, that's a lot. Oh boy, that's a lot. So I wonder if I give my person protection from white, how that works in this situation. Rune of... Okay, sure. He gets in here. Double strike. Makes sense. Very cool. Okay. So we sack here, give protection to white. Sack this to this, give it indestructible. They gain a bunch of life. Very unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll gain some life too from this. No help there. All-Seed suddenly becoming very important. So do you hold back the Lurrus, or do you hold back one of these to start blocking? I think we hold back the Lurrus just in case they have a Bone Crusher or something. So we still have our blocker. That makes sense. That makes sense. Do your worst. It is a very, very sort of neat trick what our opponent is doing. I wonder if it'll be enough. Should I hold something back to block the speaker? I really, really should. Although, you know, it's not like they'll both have trample, so I didn't actually need to do that. I could have gotten in for one more there, because I can always block and then sack so that it doesn't deal damage. Oh, but it has double strike. How does that work if you sack it? We'll find out. Okay. Wow, our deck is just not giving us what we need in the slightest. Which would be card draw or Halvar. This is an ugly game. This is probably why we should be running some removal. Yikes. Big yikes. Okay. We're out of here. Oh no. Well, we didn't draw super great that game, unfortunately. We really needed some more card draw. Or a Halvar would have been nice too. Oh well. That is what happens when you play. We can keep this. It's a little slow. Well, it's not. That's a 2-drop. I thought that was the 3-drop. Alright, we're good. We are good. Find me an untapped land. Well, another 2-drop? I think not. Untapped land! Now I just need a Selfless Savior off the top. It goes Savior into Insight. We win the game. A Seasoned Hallowblade. We lose the game. Ooh. Second Halvar, not really what we needed. So their removal is going to be like apparitions and stuff, which is bad news for us. Unless we get an All-Seed down. And All-Seed, once again, going up against Mono White, will just make Staggering Insight fall off. I'm wondering if I'm supposed to play the Staggering Insight here. Or just hold up Borrower. I mean, there's a lot. There's the fun thing about this deck, is that you have a lot of choices because everything kind of costs the same. We'll give opponent a thinking. Because we could go Halvar. We put Soar of the Realms on. Soar of the Realms really just gets us bonus damage, though. Because if they do Apparition this, it's not coming back to our hand. I'm tempted to go Insight, crash in for 3, and then they sort of have to answer this. So if they don't have the Apparition and the land to play it in hand, they're in a tough spot. So I think that's what we're going to do. And every little bit of life we can get against them is nice. So if they Apparition this, ooh, that's a good draw. You go ahead and play that now. Now they have to Apparition this, like this turn, or we untap with the All-Seed. But if they do Apparition this, we can always borrow the Apparition on their turn. Ooh, okay, that's okay. That's okay. Heliod's fine. Another Borrower. Alright, we're gonna play the Savior, hold up Borrower. And All-Seed if we need it. We might still bounce it for tempo. I like the tempo bounce. I think we do the tempo bounce and we save 1 from all the Skyclaves or something like that. I mean, it only lets us get in for 2 more points of damage. But it's gonna... we don't want them gaining the life either, though. Because gaining life is just gonna start proccing Heliod. And they scoop. So I think that demonstrates why this deck has a 72% win rate, is because we can just eat a lot of aggro decks in the meta right now. Let's see if we can get one more good game in. We go first again. I feel like we've been pretty lucky with all the go firsts this round, but I will take it. We can go Raptor, turn 1, and then just see where the day takes us. I would put the Staggering Insight on, but if they untap and Fire Prophecy this, that's a big no-go, so I think we just get in. If I really want to draw cards with this, I can flash a Sea Dasher onto it on instep. Maybe I was supposed to play the Temple here. Oh, they're doing runes. They're doing runes. Okay, since they're doing runes, they're not going to block, and they probably don't have a ton of removal. So the rune deck, if y'all haven't seen it, you get Transcendent Envoy down, which makes your aura spells cost 1 less, and then you get Runeforged Champion down, who lets you cast runes for free, or who lets you cast runes for 1 generic. So if you have both of these down, all your runes are free. So we attack with this. They're not going to block because they need this for the combo. So we get the free draws here. If they remove this, they're taking up a lot of turn. I mean, removing this is still good for them, but I feel like if they try and play Runeforged Champion now, we can bounce the Envoy. And then next turn we untap and bounce the Champion. It's a Tessin Champion, another important part of the puzzle. Yeah, they're going to get in here, because there's no way they're going to block this. They need it. So I think, I mean, that comes in. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm very tempted to play another Octopus on this and draw 2 cards. Here's the thing. We could also bounce the Setessan Champion now. Because, honestly, Transcendent Envoy plus Setessan Champion is already a pretty big headache. They don't even really... I mean, they still need Runeforged Champion, but this does a lot for them. So bouncing this now... So we bounce this. We untap. We get in with Sea Dasher Octopus. And then we have to hold up the second Borrower just in case they play the Runeforged Champion and start going off. But we're not dealing enough damage to him. I think we just hold. Well, I'll play the other Octopus. I'm going to draw 2 cards. We'll give them the only emoji you could use when you're attacking in with the double Sea Dasher Octopus and Battle Raptor. Everybody grab a leg! I should have played the Enlightenment first to see what I was going to get. Well, okay, we'll keep it on top because it can snipe a Transcendent Envoy. Which means I think Raptor is coming down, and then we hold up Borrower. So this turn is a big one for them. Our best case scenario is they play... Ooh, okay. So they don't have the Runeforged Champion in hand. You want them to play a lot of stuff on this, and then we're just going to bounce it. If they just play the 1, I think we don't even bounce. Maybe we bounce on instep. But we can take this amount of damage. So if we bounce this now, they don't draw 2 cards. So let's go ahead and bounce this now. 2 cards is too many. That's overpowered. That's cheating. Only I get to draw 2 cards with a Sea Dasher Octopus, Sea Dasher Octopus, Raven. Or Raptor. No blocks. I'm now very tempted to play Insight on this and just get in for 3 cards. Oh my gosh, so I play Insight on this, I play Selfless Savior, and I'm holding up either Takedown or Borrower. And that's really good. And I draw so many cards. Yes! Yes! Next turn we can play a Halvar full price, and he'll have double strike, which means I'll draw 6 cards if he connects. Which is fun. Savior goes down. And we hold the line. So they champion. We can also snipe that if we want. I'm honestly more scared about the Envoy because it has flying. 2 mana means they can play 2 runes here. Rune of Sustenance. Cool. If we kill this, we do it right now. I don't think we do. You can play 1 more rune. You attack in. This is okay. I don't think I'm casting anything here. So I play Halvar, get in for 6. Or get in for 6 cards, 7 damage. And I still get to hold up Kabira and Borrower, so let's go. Let's go! Cancel. Oops, okay. One, two, three. Haha! Again! Go again! 2, 2, 3. Yes! I'll have to discard. End turn. 3 cards, you say. I don't think we'll need all these lands. We probably won't need that Raptor. Done. More than 6 lands? I don't think so. I don't think so. The champion. Okay. So now we need to kill this, or they basically just go off with free runes. They can gain some life here too if they put a life-linking rune onto this. I think we kill this, even if they get the life-linking rune. I mean, that'll be a ton of life, but we still have a double striker in the air that I'm not sure they can really deal with, especially when we give it additional stuff. So, I think now we're gonna have to kill this. They don't get to combo off. Of course, you get to pull runes out of your graveyard with champion. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh no, they can still combo off regardless. Alright, how many runes do you have in your hand? You can play them all. Love it. I love it. Although, he might be, accidentally... We'll see what they do, but if they attack with their flyer, they might be a little boned. Trample is very good to have here, of course. Let's see if they can get enough to deal 24 damage to me. I'm a little skeptical. It's possible, but I'm a little skeptical. Rune of Speed, of course. Our biggest fear is the life-linking rune. Okay. I think we're still going to get this. So we bounce this, put this on this. Yeah. And hit them for $1 billion. The rune deck is cool, but once you know what it does, it is pretty easy to disrupt. So you just have to hold up disruption for it, and you can normally eke out a victory. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, we are back. Here is the deck. I was very happy with how it performed today. So is this deck for you? I think if you are tired of playing the other aggro decks in the meta, like mono red or mono white, or even Gruul, this deck is a good alternative to those. Even something like Is It Face Punch, this deck is a nice alternative too. Because it has a very different feel. I mean, you're drawing a lot of cards with it and you're gaining a lot of life with it, so it has a very like Azorius flavor to it, and I do love that. So if you're tired of playing aggro, this deck is for you. If you want to draw a lot of cards, this deck is for you. If you have some Halvars and you're looking for good ways to use them in this deck. We're going to take a quick look at the deck stats here. You can see 15 times on the play, it wins 80% of the time. On the draw, it wins 60% of the time. Very happy with those stats. Our best matchups are Rakdos, which is funny to me because I frequently build decks that have troubles beating Rakdos, but the big reason we beat Rakdos is because of Jubilant Skybonder. When we get Jubilant Skybonder on the field against Rakdos, we win the game, basically, because they're not able to target our creatures with any of their removal. Or if they do, it costs them a lot. Alright guys, I've talked long enough about the deck. I think you know at this point if it's for you or not. Let's see, some channel business. We are going to have some Commander content coming out very soon. Me and some friends have been playing a Commander series, and the great thing about this is we're playing on MTGO, and there's a $5 program there, so any deck you can build under 5 ticket, you get to play for free. So all the decks that we're playing with on the Commander series will be free to play for anybody who wants to use them, and that's super cool. So look out for that. Stay on the lookout for more Standard content as well. I'm going to keep that coming out because I love Standard. I love playing it, especially on Arena, so, you know, that's never going to change. If there is anything you'd like to see, just let us know in the comments. And let me know what you thought about the deck. You know, if there's anything you would change about it, go ahead, shout that out. I might listen to you. I might not. So it goes. So it goes. Like, subscribe if those are things that you do. They certainly help us out a lot, and we greatly appreciate it. And that's everything. I've talked myself out. Everybody, have a great day. Be kind. Party on. Stay healthy. Peace.